This is Abnormal Entertainment.
There is nothing like watching a movie on the big screen, and with MoviePass, you can see unlimited movies every month from Abnormal Entertainment. Head to abnormalentertainment.com and click on the MoviePass banner to get your first month free. And after that, it's only $30 a month to see unlimited movies, even on opening day. Go as many times as you want. Have a blast with MoviePass and abnormalentertainment.com.
On the no one cares. They have to say that cause it's not them anyway. They scream, please, please, please. No more cinema head cheese.
Welcome everybody to the Cinema Head Cheese Podshort for Friends from College. This is Kevin Moyers, and I am barreling through these Netflix series. Started one called Ozark yesterday. As I record, who knows? I might have a couple episodes down by the time this goes up. But Friends from College, I saw the trailer when they first put that up. Netflix is pretty good about not posting trailers for shows in their app until it's about 2 or 3 weeks out. Like Ozark, I'd heard nothing about. I didn't know what the fuck it was. It was already up by the time I saw a trailer for it. Like, I use Roku. You know, I don't know how it's different for Apple TV or whatever. I know it looks different on a computer, on the phone, stuff like that. But they have a big header on the Roku app, and it'll be like, click here to play the trailer. Or sometimes, for a while, it would auto-run, which drove me nuts. But as soon as I saw the cast on it, I was very excited. And it's fun for me to watch a show like this. I was a big fan of Friends when that started, and they were all a little older than me, the characters. Friends from College follows that Friends model, 3 guys, 3 girls. There's a relationship, or a marriage between one of the guys and girls, which, you know, they're eventually was on Friends. Well, 2 different relationships on Friends that went that route. But it does follow that model. 3 guys, 3 girls. And characters are all different and the same, and they're all friends from Harvard, which, you know, we can all relate to. But that's just the thing. That's the thing that connects them. You don't have to be a Harvard graduate to enjoy the show and relate to the characters. But, you know, some of them do have dream job sort of jobs. Again, they went to Harvard, so you figure they'd all be doing okay for themselves. One's a lawyer, Kobe Smulders. She's a lawyer. Her husband is played by Keegan-Michael Key. He is a novelist. Their names are Lisa and Ethan, respectively. You have Max, who is played by Fred Savage. He is an editor, happens to be helping Ethan work on his next book. Let's see. Those are the best known actors out of the 6. You have Nat Faxon, who is not, in fact, the guy from You're the Worst. He just looks like him, and they have that same stupid part in their hair where it's not really a part, and there's a little bit of like a hair flop that covers it. He's a trust fund kid, so he doesn't work. He just goes around fucking 19-year-olds, as, you know, many of us would do. If we were trust fund kids and had nothing to do, but his name is Nick. Jisoo Park is Marianne. She is sort of a hippie. Like, she's the least successful of the bunch. And then Annie Parise is Sam. She is married and has stepkids. She has a design business, like an interior design business of her own. So, also successful. So, I mean, 4 out of the 6 have successful careers, more or less, although Ethan is struggling to gain an audience with his books until he's convinced to work in young adult by Max. which he does not want to do. He thinks is garbage, stuff like Twilight and Harry Potter and that kind of shit. But he knows it can sell, so Max convinces him, and they decide to work together on a story. And, you have the two, again, trust fund kid, and Marianne is sort of, she's just, she's typical of any of the spiritual types that I meet. Anybody that says, namaste, namaste, they say it so that you know that they're saying it, if that makes sense. Oh, namaste. It says, hey, there's my key, so you know I'm spiritual and I'm centered and I have my shit together and I am in tune with the universe, when they're definitely not in any way. Those are the angriest, most fallen apart motherfuckers you're ever going to meet, which is hilarious. I am centered with my soul. I am in control of my universe. I know my truth and my whatever. That's what Marianne is. It's hilarious, and it's a perfect representation of that person. It's fantastic. So, it starts out, Ethan and Lisa are moving to New York from Michigan. And, again, Ethan's struggling to find his audience. Lisa takes on a job as an attorney for this corporation, and the office environment is horrific. It's so douche bro, making, like jerk-off jokes and fucking with each other and loud and frat boyish. Ike Barinholtz is like the main guy there, and he's great. He's so great in this. So much like, it's funny, much like you have, if you really pay attention, you will find if there's one SNL person somewhere, there's almost always another. Even Spider-Man Homecoming. You have Robert Downey Jr., you have also Donald Glover and Hannibal Buress, who were writers there. So you always find a prominent second SNL person when you find an original. And Robert Downey Jr., for those of you that don't remember, he was part of the second cast ever. Like, when they wiped out the whole original first cast, the Aykroyd, Belushi, Bill Murray. Well, Bill Murray was technically, didn't start till second season when Chevy Chase left, but when they got that original not ready for primetime crew gone, Downey was in that second with Gilbert Gottfried and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It's funny, that might be the most successful cast post SNL if you really look at it. And Eddie Murphy ended up being part of that, and Joe Piscopo later. But so you have the Mad TV thing here with Keegan-Michael Key and Ike Barinholtz. That was my point. I went all the way around the block to pick up a quarter, basically. So sorry about that. But so their move sets things in motion, and they get together at Max's place. Max is in a relationship with Felix. Billy Eichner plays him, and he's a fertility doctor. I will say it's a little convenient how some of their professions work out for each other. Like, Ethan's a writer. Well, shit, Max is an editor. Maybe he can help him with his writing career. Ethan and Lisa want to have a kid, but they're struggling. Oh, well, shit, Felix is a fertility doctor. Maybe he can help with this. So that's a little convenient. And it's how sitcoms go sometimes. A little too much. Like, all right, we get it. And it's funny, the least successful person in the group, which is Marianne, she's an actress, and she does these horrible independent plays. She's the Joey of the group, if you want to compare it to Friends. Little Joey, little Phoebe. But she does these terrible plays, and if you remember back in Friends, that they go to Joey's awful plays like Freud the Musical and shit like that. It's very much like that. It does a Streetcar Named Desire, but all the roles are gender switched, and there's a gross sex scene and stuff like that, where she's doing Annie, but Annie is played by an 80-year-old man, and Warbucks is played by a child, and they whisper the entire play. So, that kind of shit, that's where Marianne is in life, but she's super angry. But it's funny. So, It's all kind of convenient. And some way, somehow, Ethan and Sam have been carrying on an affair since college. They hooked up in college. And it's pretty clear throughout the series that they are in love on some level. And there are only 8 episodes. Unlike Castlevania, which I did last week, you feel a complete story by the end of the 8. Yet with more to come. You feel a complete story in the way a series should go. Like by the end of a season, you should feel like you have something wrapped up, but you also have more to come. You know what I mean? There is also an unanswered question or many unanswered questions, but you still feel satisfied. You know what I mean? It's that anticipation. Like, finished a great dinner or a great appetizer. That was good. I loved it. But dinner's coming. Ooh, dinner was great. Dessert's coming. You know what I mean? That's how you should feel with each season. And that's how this is. But I'll get a little bit more into that. So Billy Eichner is a fertility doctor. They go through that process, the IVF, and they're broke. They're staying on Mary Ann's couch, her fold-out couch. Again, the least successful of the bunch, yet she's housing the 2 friends. What about the rich guy, a trust fund kid, Nick? What about, Max and Felix? I mean, you get why Max and Felix don't house them, because Felix is a little apprehensive about Max's friends, because Max turns into sort of a dick, and they turn into a bunch of fucking dumbass children when they're all together. I understand how that goes. He regresses. He's not a grown-up anymore. So Felix is a little iffy and really doesn't like this crew. And I will say Billy Eichner, and this is a compliment, Billy Eichner is so good at not being funny in this series. And this is a compliment because he's used to being a funny guy. He's used to being the center of comedy. Whether he's doing his Man on the Street show, title of which I can't click right now in my head. I've seen maybe once, or he had his Hulu series where he's, again, one of the 2 leads and more the center of things comedically. For him to not be funny had to be difficult. And he has to sell it. And he's a stiff guy, the character, Felix. Felix is not funny. That's the point. And Billy Eichner sells him. He's one of the best parts of this. No joke. Then you have Greg German, who is Sam's husband, John, and that's where she has stepkids. He's the same kind of character he always is in things. Kind of oblivious. Like, yeah, bro, it's cool. Everything's good. Like that guy. But he's really good in it, too. And you do get a Chris Elliott cameo in the last episode, which I love. He's like a mentalist and kind of breaks out all these secrets that everybody has. And it is different from Friends in that way. There are secrets amongst this friend group. The affair, I'm not really spoiling anything, the affair between Ethan and Sam, that's really the first scene in the show. And somehow they've managed to keep the affair going throughout, even living in different states and things like that. Sam will travel for work and then bang the shit out of Ethan for 2 days. But the show really does a great job at looking at Generation X at age 40. And that's what they are. Like, the final episode is Sam's 40th birthday party. And John throws this big deal party for her. And everybody's there. Huge dinner party with all kinds of surprises. Way more than anybody expected. But being 41, it was very easy to identify with a lot of the themes in the show. If you're my age, I think you'll get a lot of it. This feeling of failure from Ethan. Like, I've done all this work. I can perfectly relate to that. I've done all this work. I've written books. I don't have an audience. Where's my fucking audience? I've worked hard. I think what I'm doing is good. So on and so I get that. Max kind of being a man of two personas. He's this childish goof with his friends, but he's serious and more like couple-minded when he's with Felix. You know, he's like two different people. Felix sees one side and his friends see another. Kobe Smulders is the younger of the group. She's a couple years younger than them. And, you know, I don't relate to that necessarily, but her being in a workplace environment where she feels like she doesn't fit or she's terribly unhappy because of people above her that are just, what the fuck is wrong with you, with Ike Barinholtz? You know, I relate to that. Marianne being so angry all the time, but trying to be, you know, she's just like, I get that. Sam feeling lost, like she's in the wrong place all the time. You know, like she doesn't fit where she is. Like maybe she made the wrong decision. So I relate to that. Nick, you know, he's the trust fund kid, but he's loaded with bad decisions. He doesn't want to grow up. He doesn't really have to compared to the others, but he doesn't want to. He feels like maybe he should at times. I get that too. So, and even like Felix, man, like, you know, if I've been in his shoes, John's sort of oblivious. He just goes along. I wish I could be that guy to some degree. Just like, okay. But, yeah, I think if you're this age, Generation X, when we look through history someday, we're a generation that doesn't really have a war. The millennials have, I mean, you know, we have what's going on now in Afghanistan and Iraq. I mean, my brother was in the Marines. The middle of the five of us was in the Marines when 9/11 happened. And the youngest, which he's 11 years younger than me, wasn't in yet. He wasn't old enough yet to be in. And I was a little bit, I would have been done had I gone in the military. I would have been done with my 4 years by that point. So you know, we don't have our World War II. We don't have our Vietnam necessarily. We're a little bit different that way. You know, we're kind of in that trapped gap between you don't need to go to college and you should have gone to college. You know what I mean? We're sort of, you know, the beginnings of the internet as we were getting older and technology changing. It's an interesting spot to be in, and trapped between two generations like the baby boomers and the millennials. It's a strange place. It's a very strange place. We don't want to grow up, and because we had to when we were kids. You know, we're children of divorce, so we had to be adults when we were children, and now that we are adults, we want to go and relive the childhoods we didn't have. And like so many of these themes are touched on in this series. This might be one I rewatch. It's only 8 episodes. Like I said, it's a half-hour show. And I felt very connected to it. Even Nick, to me, was the least focused on character through the beginning half, and then he gets a better focus later on. Marianne's kind of hit or miss. You know, the big ones are Keegan-Michael Key, Fred Savage, Annie Parisi, and Kobe Smulders. Marianne and Nick are sort of in the background until they're needed, and they are needed to really glue it all together in the end. So don't shortchange them when you're looking at this. It's really all very well done, and I don't know. It's good for my generation, but I love the side characters, Ike Barinholtz, Greg Gurman, and Billy Eichner. You do see like I said, cameos. Chris Elliott, Judy Gold is in there. If you're a stand-up comedy fan, you'd know who she is. Seth Rogen is in an episode. Trying to think. Jordan Carlos, if you are a Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore fan. Kate McKinnon. God, I'm trying to think. But, there's a lot. I mean, you see a lot of really cool little cameos of people that you recognize and stuff like that. So, definitely worth watching, especially if you're an Xer, Gen Xer like me. It'll really hit you in an interesting way. So, probably gonna watch it again. So I highly recommend it. Very much looking forward to season 2, especially the way season 1 ended. Really, really insane. So, lots of fun, but check it out on Netflix. It's there now. Hopefully it's not one that ends up getting canceled in the future. But anyhow, head to cinemaheadcheese.com for more of these and more reviews. We are working on our first book called The Schlockopedia. That's the working title so far, but Dave and Jeff and Dalen and I are all working on different chapters for the book, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you want 2 books that I put out, Secondhand Boogers and Kevin Hates Everything, which is based on the first podcast that we ever did on this network that I did on my own. Those are at bunny17media.com, paperback and ebooks. Audiobooks are coming soon. So there's that. But anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hoping to, as always, it goes up and down when I can post these, when I get them done. So we'll see what goes. Try to stick on every week. I don't always, but I do my best. And no, actually, I don't do my best. If I did my best, you'd have one every week. So that's on me, and I accept that. So fuck it. But let's try and get some more done, huh? By let's, I mean me. But thanks again for tuning in, and abnormalentertainment.com for other shows on our network, and we will see you next time. Subscribe and download back episodes of Cinema Head Cheese the podcast, and read all of our movie reviews and news at cinemaheadcheese.com. Email us at cinemaheadcheese@yahoo.com. Search Cinema Head Cheese on Facebook and tweet us at CINHeadCheese. And for more podcasts, books, comics, blogs, and videos, head to abnormalentertainment.com.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.